Hello and welcome to the West City Church podcast. If you'd like to get to know us more, find us at westcitychurch.com.au. We really hope that you're encouraged by today's message.
But good morning, church. My name is Hannah. For those of you who I've not met yet, you all are looking very cute this morning. There's two things you need to know about me to make this communion talk make any sense. The first one is a bit of a flex. I was really good at high school science. And the second one is that I grew up in a family that did communion really often. Again, really often, sometimes multiple times a day. But the catch was we lived pretty far from the nearest town. So we didn't really get to go to the shops, and we often just used what was in the house. Think milk, think OJ. Many times as a kid, I got water and added red food dye, and it's a very legitimate form of wine. So that is my communion upbringing. But here's where that high school science piece kicks in. For those of you who should know this, I ran it past my housemate, she didn't, it's quite concerning. That everything around us, my jumper, my skin, these walls, your hair, is made up of atoms, which make little molecules. Game changing, right? Let's go. And molecules are bonded together. So in water, you've got hydrogen, oxygen, H2O, let's go. To turn that into wine, it's not really easy. You've got to break apart that molecular bond and reform it into something entirely new, which kind of sounds easy. Just add some red food dye. No, that's not how it works. I've just realised I skipped part of this talk, but that's okay. Sorry. Love your work, thanks. So where was I going with all this? Making water into wine, which was Jesus' first miracle, isn't super easy. I thought you just added some red food dye and off you go, but no. You have to break apart molecules and reassemble them back together, which is not a very easy thing to do. It requires atomic bombs level worth of energies. So I used to think communion was a pretty passive thing where we interact with a passive God that does simple miracles, and that's it. But now I'm realising that he's a pretty powerful God, and if he can control things at a molecular level and a powerful atomic bomb level and a fibre of my being level, it's pretty cool that we get to come and interact with him. And when we come and do communion, he invites us to hang out, and I think it's really cool that we can hand him our problems, and he is powerful enough to do stuff with it. So that is my talk. You'll learn science.
Good morning, everybody. Hey, team. I'm sorry to interrupt because I kind of prefer just hearing you guys just speak and chill. Yeah, sorry, guy, I didn't mean to interrupt. No, I think that's what church happens, right? I used to go to this one church and they had an evening service, and if it was a Sunday night and it was around 8 and you'd sort of finish with your day's activity, you could be like, oh, I could catch the end of church. And so we go into the end of church because then everyone would be coming out and you didn't have to listen to the sermon or anything. You just got to hang out with everyone afterwards. And we'd go down to Macca's and it was really cool. I really liked that. It was good. Sermons and worship are good too sometimes. In moderation. My name's Theo, and I am part of the team here at West City. Usually I do a bunch of stuff with the kids out the back as well. And this is usually the part where I get up and talk about, I'd say, oh, I'm really excited to be talking today about this subject and this topic. But the truth is that I find this really hard. We do this series every year where we sort of come alongside the Common Purse offering, and we talk about giving and generosity and how we share our wealth and our needs. And because of my own personal baggage and personal history, I find that really difficult to talk with and engage about. And I think that Phil has done a really good job at shaping that, and then the other people who've spoken as well have done a really good job at looking at generosity from a holistic point of view, and taking it back and saying it's not just about give us your money. It's how do we reflect on how do we live a generous life, and what does that look like? But even still, in the midst of that, when I listen to the sermons or I think about it, talk about it, it starts to really, like it plays on something in me it's quite difficult. And I didn't grow up in poverty or anything like that. I was far from it. But I grew up with a lot of paranoia about wealth and my family are hoarders. That's their thing. Like we hold on to stuff, and we have fear. We have deep emotional attachment to the things in our lives, and when those things are disturbed, it cuts us deep. So for me, part of the benefit of getting up this morning is that the common purse offering has already happened. So the pressure's off of me in that sense, and I'm quite grateful. But the other thing I wanted to do to sort of take the pressure off me, so that we could enjoy this together, is to continue to look at holistically what a generous life means. And I wanted to talk about what that means in terms of how to receive generosity today. And I wanted to talk about how the generosity of others shapes us and changes us for our lives. Not only are we shaped when we give and when we are generous, but how are we shaped by receiving generosity, and how sometimes that can be really good and positive, and how sometimes that can be really difficult and really hard. And because I think that if we want to understand generosity in sort of like the Christ mold, in the way that Jesus talks about generosity to us, we need to understand how we can receive his generosity as well as the generosity of others. And so this morning I'm actually going to get a couple people up to talk about stories of how generosity has shaped them. So I appreciate if you can welcome up our first guest this morning. It's Sasha. Sasha, come onto the stage. Give Sasha a big welcome. We're going to sit down. Put on your chin like this, Tony. Now, just test that works.
Hi.
Perfect, that's good. So I'll ask you a question. Sasha, can you introduce yourself to everyone? Tell us a bit about who you are, who your family is.
Hi, I'm Sasha and I'm part of the Longhurst family, and my dad was just playing guitar over there.
Yeah, it's good work. Yeah, that's cool. And Sasha, how long have you been coming to West City, this church here?
Pretty much as long as I can remember.
Yeah, okay. Bring it a bit closer. Yeah, about as long as you can remember?
Yeah, I don't really know when I started or...
And you're 9 now, you said, aren't you? Yeah, cool. So Sasha, actually Sasha's part of our kids' church, and obviously we've got the kids in church today as well. So the adults have been in here learning about a generous life, and then out the back we've been doing some stories as well that sort of have been trying to coincide with that. Do you remember any of the stories or things we've been doing out the back? I just thought people might be interested in hearing if you do remember anything.
Don't remember a lot. Really?
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, no. That's what I get paid to do, actually, is for the church, just to take care of the kids' church. So I'm glad. So Sasha, I asked you to sort of think about, during the week, about stories about how generosity might have happened to you or shaped you. So you've got a story about a time that someone was generous towards you?
Yeah, one time I have a friend called Harriet. I think this was in year 3.
Mm-hmm.
Her
so a couple of years ago?
Yeah, her parents are a bit strict, and since she's my very best friend, she made a little card with all the things that she's collected up over the years, and it felt really special to me.
That's really cool. So was there a particular occasion, like a reason she gave you the card?
No, it's just because we were friends.
Just because you were friends, yeah. And can you tell us a bit about the card, what it looked like or what it said?
It was like a cute bear face with a bunch of pom-poms and confetti all over it.
That's very cute. That's very cool. So when she gave you that card, you sort of started by saying that her parents are a bit strict.
Yeah,
Is that
so they wouldn't buy her a lot of stuff every day, so she had to save up for a long time, so she gave me her time and her supplies.
Sure. And so because you feel like, because she doesn't have a lot that she gets, that you felt like that had more meaning when you received it as well. Cool. And I was thinking, is there any particular time, something happens in life or a time of year or anything like that when you think about that story, it sort of comes up for you?
It's usually on fun occasions like Christmas, my birthday, or Easter, or things like that.
Okay, cool. And your birthday is Christmas, isn't it? No.
It's the day
The day after. So basically, that's really exciting. And I was also just wondering, so is there a time, can you think of a time, like a generosity type story where somebody was generous to you and you were like, oh, this is just too much. Like, I don't know how to accept this. This doesn't feel as good.
I have another friend named Holly. She lives down the street, and she gave me like 10 bags of like those giant black bin bags of Lego, and it was just gigantic.
That's a lot of Lego. Yeah. That's like a whole room's worth of Lego.
Yeah.
That's intense. Wow. And so how did it make you feel when you sort of like you got these 10 bags of Lego?
I thought like when I saw them on the verge, I was like, who gave me this? And then her mum rolled up and I was like, did you give me these? And she was like, yeah, Holly doesn't really like them anymore. I was like, thank you so much.
I see your eyes go like, whoa.
It felt like I have a Lego table. It's just like 3 sections of like a giant Lego plate, and it filled up the whole thing. So
You don't need Lego for a while.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Sasha, for sharing about your stories of generosity. I appreciate that. You make Sasha feel welcome. Good work. Appreciate it. Good job. That's awesome. Thanks, everyone, for that. I'm also going to ask Mana to come up. This morning, I wanted to kind of highlight some people we don't always hear from up the front at the church. And so I was like, it'd be great to have someone who's part of one of our younger members. And Mana's also coming up as well. Thanks, Mana. That's a lovely shirt. Grab that one. Thanks for joining me today, Mana.
You're welcome.
Mana, do you want to introduce yourself and tell us a bit about who your family is?
My name is Mana Stone. I'm here with my husband, Paul Stone, and my little boy, Elijah Stone.
And how long have you been part of coming to West City?
9.5 years now.
Yeah, cool. So long.
Yeah, I came to Australia and I came straight here. Not a Christian.
Not a Christian when you first came here. And you
No,
were
you
baptised
guys
here
did
as
that.
well. You were baptised here as well, weren't you?
Yeah.
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 Very
At the back there.
Under the back of you.
Yeah.
Actually, that was the same day Sally got baptised. My wife
Yes.
got baptised the
Yes.
same day.
We're baptism buddies.
Baptism buddies. Yeah, that's cool. So, Mana, how has generosity shaped your life?
Well, you guys have been extremely generous with us. You might not know that. So that's why I was like, okay, I'll go up and I'll let you know. So some of you might have seen me in a wheelchair for a while. And that's because I have a neurological disorder. So for 1.5 years, I was in a wheelchair. I'm currently in remission, luckily. But during that time, we needed help because I couldn't do much. I couldn't be much of a mum. I couldn't be much of a wife. There was just not much I could do. Paul had to work, and our family was was needing. So especially in the beginning, we got a lot of meals, a lot of food, and that was very helpful because at the end of the day, like cooking just wasn't happening. We were just ordering something or having something unhealthy,
What was it like, that process of sort of like having a need, and then was it something you had to ask for or reach out for?
So, no, I didn't have to ask for that. And also, Sally was appointed as someone to help us get help. So Sally set up a Facebook page for us, a support group, and people could join that. Also, a lot of friends not from church joined that one as well. So whenever we needed help with something, because I couldn't drive, so I needed help going to lots of medical appointments, because there's lots of medical appointments, but you can't get there. So I would put it in there, and there was always someone helping. One time, I needed a medical appointment for Elijah, and there was nobody who could bring me because my wheelchair is 30 kilos. Like, not everybody can pop that in their car. So church actually paid for a wheelchair taxi, so I could take Elijah to his to the hospital for his medical appointments. And first we had cleaners from KRSWA. They gave us support. They gave Paul some respite care as well. But when that stopped, church here has paid for 3 months of cleaners because the house was gross.
Wow. Yeah.
It was really needed, yeah. And like lately, we've been getting like lots of meals again as well. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So through that time of, and sort of continuing time of like sort of need, that time was, how did you see that, like you could see the generosity coming in? It was like, what did that feel like as it was coming in?
At that point, I was just grateful. And that was a big change for me because I've always been really independent. I'm not going to need any help. I remember one time I couldn't eat. Someone wanted to buy me food and I was like, nah, you're not buying me food. I take care of myself. So getting to a point where you just can't but need, like you can't but rely on others has been a big lesson for me.
Yeah.
In
Now
accepting.
that you're becoming more independent again, as your health is improving, does that stick with you, or does that change back? How do you think you find that independence now?
Well, I prefer to be the generous one, so I'm trying to revert back to like being able to give, because that's I enjoy that to give back and
Yeah, thank you, Mana. Is there anything now? You guys are you're about to undertake a new part of an
yes,
adventure. Yeah. Is there
for
anything else
medical
you'd like to
for medical reasons, we need to go to the Netherlands. They can't help me here, so I'm moving back to my home country in about 5 weeks.
say? Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, to get the medical support that we need, or the treatments that I need. Yeah.
Big adventure. How are you feeling about heading into it?
Well, my family's there.
He's excited.
I'm gonna love it.
And is there anything else you'd like to say, just to wrap up? Anything that you wanted to add?
Well, just thank you. You guys might not have known, but you've been helping our family greatly. So thanks for that. And there are some great cooks here. Like if you ever need meals, the cooks are great.
Thank you so much, Mana. I really appreciate you coming to share this morning.
Okay, thanks.
We have some really cool people in our congregation, and often when I'm up here, I sort of think, I kind of wish that I was hearing from other people who are up here as well. And so I'm really glad that when people are asked to get up and speak, we would be able to do that and really benefit from it. I wanted to share a story as well, sort of focus on stories this morning, about a time when generosity helped to shape me. And it sort of touches on some of those points that Mana was talking on, I guess, about how it can be difficult when you're independent and you want to be in that space of independence to accept the generosity of others. I think that there's sort of levels of generosity that can, it can be easier to accept the generosity when we sort of think, well, we could pay that back. Like somebody offers to buy you a meal when you're out and you're like, oh, cool, yeah, I'll get you next time. That's a bit easier. Or sometimes people, like when I was younger, I got sponsored to go on this conference that I couldn't afford. And that was really cool. And in your head, you're sort of like, oh, when I am older and wiser and stable income, I will sponsor someone else who's younger to go on a conference. Like that's something I could pay forward. And then there's times in your life when there's just the gift that you were given is so far outweighs what you could ever possibly return that you're not really able to ever even contemplate giving that back. And when that comes at you like a wave, like 10 bags of Lego, I think that truly represents something of what Christ's gift is supposed to look like to us. We're told that we're supposed to be generous and give to people that, couldn't possibly repay us. That's kind of the Christian thing. But I think in that, we also need to be prepared to receive the gifts that we couldn't possibly repay back. And often we don't want to do that. We push people away or we create distance. And about 10 years ago, I was in my marriage, my first wife was sort of breaking down. I was really depressed and anxious. I'd taken on a job because of financial pressures that I wasn't really able to do. I couldn't complete the tasks that I'd sort of said that I could do, and constantly I was having to sort of say, you know what, I said I could do that, but I need to step back from that a little bit. And the people who were supposed to be handing over more responsibility to me were taking on more responsibility. And my anxiety was so bad that I just would often, just during the workday, we go through these cycles of having to step out, take deep breaths, go back, try and complete a task. And in the midst of all of that, I got quite sick. I ended up catching laryngitis because I was so run down, I guess, emotionally and physically. And so then I couldn't speak either, and I was sort of, really stiff from the infection that was raging through my body. And I actually had a really good support network through all of this. Like, people were there to listen to me and support me and carry my burdens, and I was very grateful for that. And again, there's like the confrontation I had was the sort of, that you think, oh, well, I will do the same for other people. But I sort of hit by this frustration, like, well, when have I actually supported someone like this? When have I supported someone for a marriage breakdown? And then I realized that I was the guy, I was the guy in the group of friends who that had happened to. It was the one who was broken and didn't have anything to offer and give. And I really felt, I felt like sort of worthless, right? Because I think I didn't realize how much my worth was tied up in things like work until I couldn't work anymore. And I just felt like I had nothing to offer or give. I didn't realize how much my worth was tied up in my ability to support or offer friendship to others until I was the one that people were offering support to. And the people I wanted to highlight in this was actually my workplace. I was working for a Christian organisation at the time, and they sort of bent over backwards to accommodate me, which didn't really make sense to me because I had a role, right? Like, in relationships it's a bit different, in family it's a bit different, but when you go to the work to do a job that they've hired you to do and you're not doing that, I was like, well, they don't owe me anything. I mean, I've been there a number of years, but it was like, I'd been compensated for that work. I had been paid. They had no responsibility to take care of me. But they bent over backwards to allow space for me to give me extra leave. I used up all my sick leave on being sick and then anxiety leave. And it started to eat into my annual leave. But when I finally had to leave that company, they sort of said, they waived a bunch of that leave. And so they had a bigger sum of annual leave to pay me out for when I left, so I wouldn't be going completely destitute. They offered me references. They offered to pay for counselling for me. They insisted that I go to a GP and get prescribed with anti-anxiety medication, which was really helpful. That was something that became to be a big turnaround point for me. And again, it's not like it's a person that I could go back and repay. It was something that I could never seek to sort of return. And in that I see the love of Christ, right? Like, for them, it wasn't about, I guess, repaying me for the value I had. It was about, giving to those who could never repay them back. It was about expressing what Christ had done for all of us. And I think, as Mana said, that this is happening in our community. This giving and this receiving. And if there are times when it's hard for us to open our arms or and receive or to ask for help because we don't think that we're worth it or we don't think we've been here long enough, then I want you to turn and look around, because these people are here to be your community, to be Christ to you. And I think it's hard in our society to talk about the weaknesses that we have. And I don't know what's going on for you. I mean, maybe you guys would benefit from having a meal shared with you. Maybe you're in a space where you need more human connection and you don't know how to ask for that. Maybe you need a safe space to break down, to not be well, to not be able to give. And I think that in our community, if we want to live generous lives, we have to be prepared to be generous, but also to have that generosity shared with us. I think that's how Christ wants us to model the one anothering in our community. The last thought I'd leave you with is simply this, is that when Jesus was going around with his followers, and they were sort of like, giving up stuff to follow him, and he sort of said to them, look, if there's anything you've given up, it's going to be repaid to you as you go forward, You'll receive it 10 times more if you've given up brothers or houses or things. And often in churches we get sort of taught that it's like, anything you sacrifice will return to you tenfold and that'll be your heavenly reward. But I like to think that actually the people who were hearing that from Jesus were experiencing that in a real way. Like, they would say they had left their homes, but as they looked around, they saw a following around them, a community around them, and they saw brothers and they saw sisters that were more than they had given up. And as they looked at the finances or the opportunities they'd left behind, they looked around and they saw that they didn't lack anything in that moment because a community was there to help them. So I want us to be generous, a community of people living generous lives, and go out and do that. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much for joining us. Each week at West City, we say a benediction together. We do this because we believe that the purpose of the church is to be a caring community for the world, and that as we go and serve others, we enter into Christ's work of welcome, restoration and healing, both for us and others. We believe that in doing so, we get to see and encounter Christ. So let's say the benediction together. We come together as the church to be reminded of the go of Christ. So we will go out and feed the hungry, go out and clothe the naked, go out and fight for justice, go out and end oppression, go out and proclaim anew the old story, go out and associate with those who don't look like us, think like us, act like us, and don't even like us. And we'll do it all in the name of the one who sent us. His name is Jesus.